Hey everybody, Tom Barnish, Chicago scene in the Ravenswood neighborhood, talking to local Chicago artist Catherine about her art that she does called newspaper collage art. Something I never really seen before. I saw it at the Ravenswood Art Walk. I thought it was amazing, so I had to talk to the artist, and that's what I'm doing today. I'm going inside of her working studio that she has to give me the rundown on how it got started, her process, and the whole thing now for the Chicago scene. So let's go find her. All right, so I've made my way inside the working studio of Catherine with these amazing art prints. How are you, Catherine? And thank you for letting me invade your space here. I appreciate it.
No problem.
So tell me about your work and what makes you different than everybody else that they might see. You just are fresh off the Ravenswood Art Walk, and when people walk by, like, what pops out at people, and what do you want people to know about your work?
I would consider myself a newspaper collage artist, so I only use newspaper in my artwork. So I obviously collage everything and only use newspaper. So a lot of newspapers have colors in them and from the advertising, so I use only those pieces to create the images. So for example,
Yeah, what do you got here?
this is the first image I ever created. So I started this in northern Michigan. There was one time that I was wanting something to do creatively and wanted to capture the beautiful landscapes in northern Michigan. So,
And where in northern Michigan is this?
Sleeping Bear Dunes National Lakeshore area. Yep.
And that's kind of where it started. So this was a hobby at first because you weren't doing this, but you were one of the unfortunate or fortunate, depending on how you look at it, folks that were laid off during the pandemic, right? And you did this. You've been doing this for like 11 years, you said, as a hobby, but you've really kicked it up as a business in the last year and a half or so.
Yep. So lost my job due to the pandemic, and then had a lot of free time. So I decided to start creating and seeing, maybe seeing if this could be a business. And so I decided to do that, and it's going really well so far.
And so you start off with the tracing, right? Or is that how it starts? Or you take a picture first and then you start to trace?
So my process works, or how my process works, is that I mostly have an idea of what I want to do, and then I'll sketch it out. Oh, and I'll take a photo of whatever I want to do, sketch it out, and then start going through the newspapers.
So is this an example of the sketching? Why you can put that down. It's okay. I don't really think you have to hold it. So this is kind of how it starts off, right here, right?
So I sketch it out, and then use heavy like cardstock paper to help with the adhesive to not warp or anything like that. So so I sketch it out, have the idea of what I want to do, and then I find the newspapers. So for example, like you can
She's
see,
grabbing from right here. This is a working studio. So this is the newspapers that you've cut up already.
So you can see this was an advertisement from, I guess, like a garden. And so I say I need blue, I would cut out the blue and then start piecing it together for the sky, for the water. So that's kind of how my process works.
And you take, if you're going to do something like in northern Michigan, the newspapers are from the northern Michigan area. Or if you're doing Chicago, you're doing Chicago newspapers. So the newspapers in these pieces are from the area in which the creation is inspired by.
Yeah, exactly. So I use local newspapers based upon what I'm doing. So like you said, northern Michigan, I use the Glen Arbor, the Sun Times, local newspaper in Glen Arbor, and it helps create, it gives a lot of meaning behind the artwork. It's not just
just not cut and paste job,
exactly.
right? And you're gonna show me an example of that in a second of the hidden meaning behind some of the work. But why don't you get into like some of the things that you do? You do floral and you do Chicago stuff. We'll get to the Chicago stuff in a second. But why don't you show me some of the other stuff? And these are original creations right here, correct?
Yes. So these are the originals. I started this all during quarantine since we didn't have a lot going on.
So that's not paint. That's newspaper clippings. Look at that.
Newspaper, and it's crazy. I always say,
But you can run through a couple there.
Who
Go for it.
knew newspaper has so much color? And it's true. So
See, here's another
this
one.
is my
Look at
floral
that.
arrangement, which has lots of bright colors. This is my sunflower. Everyone loves the sunflowers.
Look at that. And you can see, if you look close enough, you can see some writing on some things, but from far away, it just looks like it's the color. It's amazing. Well done.
And there is this one as well. So yeah, this kind of came to me. My mom collects spode or blue and white china, and I love flowers and I love bright colors. So that's kind of where I got the inspiration to do this collection.
And then you also have some Chicago ones. So people watching this is the Chicago scene segment. And this is something that people can connect with. So why don't you get to some of these here? Let's see these amazing ones.
I started doing the Chicago since we obviously live in Chicago, and just walking around the neighborhood. I love all the historic architecture, and a lot of the architecture actually is being demolished. So I just wanted to help preserve that and educate people on, just it being demolished, and it's important to keep our.
And you cut all of this out. It's incredible that
all of these bricks are.
And that stairway right there is what you were talking about, hidden meetings before. The backside of the newspaper that you have was something on there that it was pretty appropriate for a stairwell, right?
Mm-hmm. It talked about how it said welcoming and inclusive, and I thought that was perfect for a house. I think we all should be welcoming and all inclusive, and talking about hospitality. So I thought that was perfect since I was building a house, and it's right on the stairs leading you to the entrance. So that's a fun little behind the scenes of my artwork, and there's a lot of meaning behind a lot of my artwork. So here's another one. This is the gray stone. A lot of people know of the famous gray stones in Chicago.
And these are from all different kinds of newspaper clippings that you find and put together. And I just think it's incredible what you've done here.
Yep, and a little tribute to Chicago, the Chicago flag. So the blue and the white kind of have like a hidden meaning, and then also the red flowers, so like the Chicago flag, and just a little tribute to
Absolutely. I'm a big fan of Chicago flag, so I appreciate that for sure.
My version, I guess you could say. So so that's the gray stone, and then this is the worker cottage, which you can find in Bucktown, and there's a lot of
older parts of the city.
A lot of older parts of the city. This is my most recent one that I finished.
And these take, you said, about 30 hours or so to do one of these prints, correct?
Yep.
Or one of these pieces, I should say. And then what you do is you print them, and that's what people can buy at the art fairs and stuff like that. And if people want an actual piece like this, they might have to just privately email you for maybe a commission or something, because they're not for sale just yet. You want to wait a little bit on that. You want to get the prints out there, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm not doing commission right now, but hopefully we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah. So those are the houses that I do, and then I'm also working on another bungalow. This is a work in progress, as you can see. So there's this part of the sketch that I do first, and then these are, I'm just kind of laying out and figuring out where I want to put those, and it's almost done. So I just have to do the stairs and the door, and I love the detail. The detail is my favorite part, because it means that I'm almost done. And
for sure.
And then also it just brings it to life. So like the door, the door on this is just really, really detailed, and I think it just helps give it a little bit more of a fun vibe.
Well, and it is truly unique for sure.
For sure. Yeah.
So for people who want to know where you're going to be next and all that kind of stuff, what's the best way for them to find you and all that good stuff?
You can find me on my website. It's KatherineElizabethArt.com. You can find me on my Instagram. My work is also at the Chicago Makers Pop-Up Shop in Bucktown, and I'll also be at Renegade Art Fair this coming weekend, and then all my other events for the whole rest of the year are also on my website.
Fantastic, and I appreciate what you're doing, and let me bump into your space here. But what's your motto? You have it on the wall back behind me there, your motto for what you do. Can you just say that real quick for me?
Sure. It's using yesterday's newspaper to capture what I dream of today.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it, and I'm going to let you get back to work, okay?
Sure.
Okay, we'll see you later. Well, there you go, TBARNAS at WGNTV.com. That's TBarness at WGNTV.com if you have a suggestion for the Chicago scene. Until then, I'll see you later. Bye.